All right, what is up, guys? It is Connor Ferguson here with Eric Bridger for another episode of the Always Race Day podcast after an absolute banger of a race at Lawrenceburg. We're going to break down the finish and everything that happened there with Rico Abreu taking the win by 26 hundredths of a second. I did quick math in my head to figure that one out, how to pronounce it at least. We're going to talk Rico Abreu's move to Tony Stewart Racing, some of the weekend winners. We're going to try to fit in the Knoxville Late Model Nationals preview. I don't know how well that's going to go. And then we got a interview with Kurt Schroeder that will either be attached to the end of this video or a separate video on YouTube itself. Great interview with him. Did, I think, 40 minutes. Talked some college football, talked his story about earning a scholarship as a walk-on at Iowa State back in the day on those Sage Rosenfels teams, and then talked a little bit about the Knoxville Late Model Nationals, and he's searching for an open motor to do a little bit more late model racing in 2026. So great talk with him. And before we hop right into it, I want to thank Chris Weiser in the Weiser Companies for jumping on board with us during the Knoxville Nationals. Big shout out to Chris and what he does for us, and just believing in us enough to come on board right before the last day started, right before the biggest day of our year, and stay on board with us through the end of the year and hopefully beyond. But let's hop right into it. Remember to like and subscribe and comment anything. We read all the comments. So if you got any questions, you want us to talk about anything, or we don't touch on something, because we got a lot on the rundown, we're going to try to get to it all. But let us know what you want to hear us talk about, and we'll do our best to do it. So, Eric, what do you think of that one, man?
Yeah, it was a pretty good show. I just caught it at the beginning of the feature there. Just got home a little bit ago. So, but I mean, Lawrenceburg usually puts on pretty good races with the wing car, and definitely proved to be the same thing tonight.
And definitely early night with High Limit. They had 23 cars. The show went really quick. They got everyone out there very early. My feed today was filled with college football fans complaining about when their kickoff was on Saturday. If it's not at 11, 2:30, or 7, it seems to piss off a lot of people. And the football games seem to be going later and later. So I think High Limits, especially with today's announcement, a lot of momentum, especially with moves like that, getting everyone out of there early when you don't have anything else. You don't need a support class. We didn't need to sit here an hour later and do the same show we're doing and talk about that. But Rico Abreu wins it by a slim margin. Aaron Reitzel with 1.3 second lap time better than Rico on the final lap, which, I mean, that's virtually unheard of. Eric, have you ever seen someone hit a final lap like that?
No, it's very hard to do, it seems like, but that was a pretty ballsy move and almost paid off there at the end.
Does it almost take the pressure off of guys when you know, like, okay, the only way I'm going to win this race is by doing this unbelievably stupid line that I haven't tried yet, and it somehow works, but that was the only option he had?
Yeah, and then it makes you want to try it 3 or 3 laps ago, because then they probably would have won the race.
How many times did that happen in your career? You were usually out front, so I suppose you're not the best one to ask.
No, I mean, it's a little bit different with 305s too. I mean, 410s and 360s, you have more opportunities to try different things. Not saying you can't with the 305s, but there's been a couple times if Knoxville decides to pack the top, that's very easy in the heat, like especially before your heat race goes. If they decide to pack the top, then you have opportunity to go up there and get some of that moisture that they pack in, and usually it's the fastest lane for about 4 or 5 laps. So it's just gotta keep an eye on things, and sometimes it never hurts to try things, especially when you're in second place or third place and you're trying to win a race.
For sure. And we saw Corey Day do that kind of in the middle of the race when he got all the way up to second. I shouldn't say all the way up. He was in third before. He got a huge run down the backstretch, and I think past either 1 or 2 lap cars, and also Dason Pursley, who was in second at the time. Poorly timed caution for him. It set him back to third. And he ran that line one more time, but ultimately had a flat tire force him to the work area. And then Tanner Thorson had a flat too. Did you think there was something on the racetrack or just a circumstantial couple of tires going?
Usually when both one or two go down,
it's right in the middle because it's not 3 and it's not 1.
Yeah. Usually there's probably is something on the racetrack, but it could be something so small as like a rock sticking out that punctures the tire just a little bit. So it's a slow leak. Or, it could be something a little bit bigger too, but, sometimes they just go flat because they go flat. I mean, that's unfortunate. That's part of it for some reason.
Absolutely. And then, after the race, Aaron Reitzel's not making any more, fans in Pennsylvania, but he's still so very good at playing the villain. Here's, the quote he had after the race said, "You race all these guys, the top 6, 7, or 8 in points, and you can slide them and they all know when to pick and choose, when to go around your right rear, etc." He said, "You race with clowns like the 42," talking about Cy Lynch, "and he don't know which way he's going. And that's why shit like that happens to him." What do you think of that? There's a big rivalry between those two right now, especially after the last week.
Yeah. I mean, Reitzel's not a one to certainly back down from things, especially when he has opportunity to talk about it in the mic. But I assume Cy Lynch probably isn't going to back down either. But Reitzel definitely knows how to talk, and most of the time he backs it up with the walk and walk. So, it's always good to get a little bit of personality in sprint car racing. So very interesting to listen to.
I think I've been on here like 4 weeks in a row saying like we need more mic moments like that, and I think now I can't say more, but keep them coming, boys, because I think it makes it for a better product, a better show. Some of these guys are like, well, we don't need everyone motherfucking each other after the race, and I get that, but goddamn, especially with a guy like Reitzel that knows what to say, even if it sounds like cringy coming out of his mouth, it still ends up being this famous quote that we're going to see on promo videos for a couple years. How's it going, May? Appreciate you tuning in, man. Thanks for watching. That being said, we got a bit to talk about with Rico Abreu, who wins today with High Limit at Lawrenceburg, hours after announcing his move to join Tony Stewart Racing in 2026 and chase a High Limit championship. Eric, there's a lot of things to take away from this. What was the biggest one for you? What do you want to lead with? I guess I'm letting you choose.
The biggest thing is taking technically a car off of the tour, whether that's Outlaws and High Limit. It makes sense with Rico being so close to Tony's shop in Brownsburg, Indiana. But I mean, I think for both sides, it's Rico doesn't have to worry about paying all the bills, and Tony doesn't have to worry about finding crew guys or finding the team and building the team and technically finding a driver. He did find a driver, but it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Is it just going to be more Rico just continuing what he does and just with some TSR and sponsorship logos on the car, or is it going to be more of a solely TSR deal with Rico and Ricky Warner and his crew being, in the TSR shop? So, which I assume they're going to figure out the shop stuff.
And
for sure. Go ahead.
No, sorry, I cut you off. I called Mazer May, and it's just because his name on YouTube is May, and I didn't even think about it. I'm like in my head, I'm like, my bad, Ryan. With this move, it is going to be from the sounds of it, Tony Stewart Racing. Rico told Matt Weaver, I believe, that if things go well, and the right things end up happening, essentially, Rico said there's a chance that the RAR, or the Rico Abreu Racing number 24 car, winds up back on track somewhere and somehow. So this is going to go out of Tony Stewart's shop. This is a complete move to TSR. Rico talked about that on the Dirty Mo podcast today. Really good interview. You guys should go watch it. Tons of stuff in there, and we're going to touch on all of it.
It's interesting that the person that breaks the news is pretty much Dell Jr. and Dirty Mo Radio. I mean, something that sometimes talks about sprint car racing, but very rarely does, especially this type of news.
Yeah, and I know Junior is really interested in it because he's promoting and owns the Cars Tour, and they're trying to figure out how sprint car racing has the purse success and the money success that we've seen in the sport over the last few years. It's grown a lot, no matter what people want to tell you. This is a strategy High Limit does. If you guys remember the inaugural High Limit announcement when they said we're going to be a national tour, that broke at like 2:45 on a Saturday. I don't forget where I'm at when things happen. I was with Josh Betts at the draft house down the street from my place. And it went to Adam Stern at like 2:45 on a Saturday. So a guy that I think probably tweets about sprint car racing 3 times a year. And it's typically when they send this stuff to him. So what they're trying to do is get these people the exclusive to break it. And then the attention is going to come in from a bunch of non-dirt racing, non-sprint car fans. They're trying to grow the audience. So I'm not saying I agree with it or not. I get the strategy though. And I'm not at all sitting here pissed that like we didn't get it or so-and-so didn't get it or whatever. I think there's more to this journalism thing than breaking news, at least. I very much like reacting to stuff. So, I don't want to, sorry. I was going to say something, but that's like my transition to the next thing. So this will lease out the charter from that Rico Abreu is getting from High Limit, or the franchise, as they call it now. That's a complete non-issue. But when Rico talked about it on the podcast today, and I'm going to reach out and get some clarity on this in the coming days here. Kind of ran out of time and don't want to bother people right before a race is getting to start that are working at that racetrack. So, but Rico said if we can get the number one franchise, that'd be really big. And he made it sound like, I don't know if it's an unequal money share or what the deal is going to be moving forward. I think we're all kind of waiting on the official details to be released by Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson, and High Limit and what it's going to look like. But he made it sound like getting that number one spot is a big deal. Whether that also could just be him saying like it'd be big to win a championship. So I didn't know if you read anything into that or hearing that, if you think anything differently.
Yeah, I'm guessing the number one charter seat is probably given out to the car owner for the championship every year. I don't know if that trades hands or not, but it would make sense if it does, just based off the champion each year. But I'm guessing that charter probably pays a little bit more than the rest of them do. So, and I don't know if it gets any more benefits for TV deals or what, but a bigger percentage for the one charter versus the 5 charter for TV money. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like both sides are putting their pool of money in with sponsorship, and car owners and crew and chiefs and car chiefs and crew chiefs and all that. So it definitely seems like don't want to say it, but all in type of deal, kind of cliche with the High Limit logo slogan, but definitely doesn't seem to be an all in type of deal. And they're wanting to go out there and win some races and win a championship.
For sure. If you're tuned in, thank you for watching. Comment anything along the way. We will read all of them and answer. And I'll get to Mazers in a second here. We kind of hit on it a little bit, but we launched our Patreon today. So if you were subscribed to any of the paid levels, it's $5, $10, $20. And we got more details coming on what each tier gets you. But if you were subscribed, you saw this news at 6 a.m, I believe. And then at 7, by the time I woke up, the entire Patreon was in Italian. So I spent an hour and a half fixing that and getting that all set up because it wasn't like that yesterday, I swear to God. And I think it was some stupid crap I was doing with the URL. So apologies if you saw it in Italian. At least the text was in English. So the only thing that wasn't was the buttons to subscribe and do anything. So we're going to try to post on there a lot even if you're subscribed for free. So jump on there and subscribe. We'll do like news and notes and stuff. I'll have like a weekend preview thing that I type up that's short form, quick hitters, just get you prepped for the weekend especially when we don't have a show. I'd rather get it out there like that and deliver it straight to you guys. So thanks to all who subscribed already. There's a couple other tidbits on there and a couple more coming in the next few days. There's a quote from Tony on the Dirty Mo show talking about that. He said he should have made the shots move 2 years ago, and it would have saved a lot of time for his people and for the sake of his people, I believe was the words that he used. What a weird timeline. I mean, can you imagine this happening 2 years ago, even with the success Rico has had at Knoxville? And I don't know how much this is going to change the Knoxville program. I think Rico's kind of in charge with what he wants to order, what kind of parts they want to put in the car, engines and stuff. I don't think it would have changed much aside from maybe he would have ran with Ford Motors 2 years ago. Who knows? But what do you think about that, Eric, that Tony kind of acknowledged like we could have made this move a whole 2 years ago?
Yeah, because I mean, I guess the last 2 years they've definitely struggled. I don't know what the stats are, but I feel like they probably maybe won maybe 3 or 4 outlaw races the last 2 years.
If even. Yeah.
And I wanted to look it up and see what it looks like his last Knoxville Nationals win was 2022. So if they ended it in 2022 and did something different in 2023, I think it would have been better off with Tony and his guys, because the last 2 years Tony has changed engines, chassis, shocks, crew guys. I mean, he's definitely spent a lot of money into it. Probably would have saved Tony a lot more money if he did do that 2 years ago. But interesting to see. I think that shows how much time and belief he had in Donnie to make it work. And unfortunately, that just came down to probably being the worst case scenario where they didn't talk for 3 months and on when they just got him fired from the weekend. So, but after Nationals, so very interesting to see. This seems like each time that one of them talks, it's some new piece of information comes out that you really didn't think of that would have happened.
Yeah, they're two guys filled with knowledge at the same time too. So any time either of them open their mouth, I'm not ever surprised that we get new stuff coming. I think a big part of this and Rico teaming up with Ricky Warner is Ricky's going back to Tony Stewart Racing. He said he never ever thought that would happen. What do you think it's going to be like seeing him back with TSR, even though it's going to be Rico's crew guys coming over? I think there's one guy from TSR that's staying there, but it's going to be Rico's team. It's going to look very similar to the 2014 from this season, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be same crew guys. Kind of ironic that Ricky Warner is back at TSR just with a different driver, but I mean, he's been with Rico for, it seems like, to be 2 or 3, maybe 4 years now.
I think since Rico ran that one season where he ran Knoxville all year.
Yeah.
In that blue and red 24.
He's definitely kind of made his schedule larger and larger and larger. Now they're taking on the high limit stuff again. So I think it's just perfect enough for, crew guys. They get some breaks in between that schedule, so they can get to go do some races that they want to go do too as well. So, I mean, I think it's a perfect deal. It's going to be pretty odd though, because it's been probably, pretty much ever since TSR got created, it feels like they've been on the World of Outlaws tour. So it's going to be pretty weird to see a void in the Outlaws side with not having TSR on there.
Yeah, and we're going to talk the subtraction of a car. There's a thing I want to say about that too. But to wrap up what was on that episode and what's come out today, it sounds like Rico Abreu will not be running the Chili Bowl in 2026. I would assume he's going back down to Australia and running down there as he did, I believe, the last 2 winters. And that'll be interesting to see again. Is High Limit going to do another big race on New Year's? Do we know for sure?
Yeah, it's the same thing as last year.
That's awesome. I got a lot of joy out of watching that event, especially when it fell. I think I came home from an Iowa State game and watched sprint cars. So anytime I can do that, is a big deal. There's probably 6 hours in between. I guarantee I stayed up or either woke up early or vice versa. Rico did say on the Flow broadcast today that he's going to drive the Tony Stewart Racing Curb Agajanian 24 in 2026. So it sounds like Mike Curb, that has worked with both Rico and Tony Stewart. I almost said Donnie, but so technically, yes, he has. But that sponsor that has been affiliated with both those guys sounds like it's going to be the primary on the car next year. And then Advanced Auto Parts and CarQuest are both on board. And all of Rico's partners, according to Tony Stewart and Rico today, are very interested and encouraging, excited for what this is. And they're kind of blending two separate teams of resources together into one. And as you said, the caveat is we lose. If you think about how sprint car racing is set up, and there's 2 national tours, there's about 13, 12 full-time guys on each side, and that's about 26. And give or take, 16, 17 rides that are high quality, true outlaw. And I'm probably going a little high on that number. We have had a season like that where it does feel like it's a full 17 of those guys, but you're looking at around 40, 45, maybe 50, big national tour capable cars out there. And anytime you lose one, the sport is in turn smaller. So that's a negative to this. I think there's going to be a new team around the corner that might fill the void there, if you call it a void. Our guy Gio might be affiliated with those guys. We'll see if or when that gets announced. I'm not sure when that one will be coming, but all my signs point to something like that. And we'll put more stuff like that on premium and things like that. So make sure you subscribe to that Patreon. But whatever question I was going to ask you, Eric, pretend I asked it again and go for it. It was on the contraction from 2 national tour teams that it's better for those guys. The resources are more plentiful, but obviously a negative for sprint car racing.
Yeah, I mean, losing a car on either side, especially like a top 5 car, I guess you want to say. It's always a negative, especially if you're the outlaw side, because you're losing KKR and TSR. 2 teams that have dominated the outlaws for basically 20 plus years combined together. So it's gonna be interesting to see, does the Outlaws gain, maybe one of those high limit teams that see that the competition is getting a little bit tougher, or does the Outlaws stay at that 10 through 12? Because I don't know, I don't know if the roster strength really changes between the 2 sides with that. It's just, I don't know, it just sucks to see that one car is dropping off the tour, because those seem to come by harder and harder each year as it goes, and recently.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and you don't want to see cars leave the tour, but as Abreu said in that interview with Weaver, that if things go to plan, we could see the Rico Abreu Racing 24 back on the road. Shouldn't say on the road, but back on a track, depending on how things go and where things go with him. And it is definitely going to be interesting with all that said and done. Part of that new team, Gio Scelzi, running pretty well with the Clausen Marshall guys. According to Justin Fiedler, and he touched on this on his show the other day as well, it sounds like they've picked up a veteran crew chief that was out there for 2026. I'm not going to speculate. Eric, I'll let you do it if you want.
I don't know. I haven't really heard about that too much, so I'm not going to say too much of what that could be. I mean, veteran crew chief, that could be really anybody that I can think of, but it's going to be interesting to see if that's how much money Spire decides to put in with Gio, and is that something that could be more into NASCAR, kind of like a Toyota deal, but or like an asphalt late model or something like that. But they seem to be a little bit more invested to the sport than they were this year. So that's good to see.
Yeah, and they've been on the front wing of that 7BC car that was driven by Tyler Courtney up until his injury. And I know, obviously, Gio has ran some NASCAR. He ran ARCA. His dad had some really funny quotes to me about what he thought of his time in NASCAR. And I know Gio wasn't a huge fan of doing it. So it would be a bit shocking to me if that is not what this turned into, but if that was part of the deal at all. And I know Spire is a lot more invested in dirt racing today than they were on the first day of this year and the first day of last year, especially. So it's, at the very least, you know, you're hoping it's a full thing and it's another new car. And we went +1 and -1 today and neutralized out. Also, one other thing that Rico said, and then we'll move on from that. Dale Jr. asked him what he thought the future of high limit was and the future of sprint car racing. And without hesitating, Rico said linear television. And I'm not trying to read into things here. I did want to say, like, we've been saying that here as well. Get it on TV, get it on live TV. That's, if you want to get more fans, that's how you do it. We saw them on Fox Sports 1. We saw the number that got, I believe it was 383 or 387,000. It's no number to scoff at, especially on a Thursday night. And if you can replicate that at all on a regular basis and get the majors or the big races on TV, that's a huge deal. So I think the fact that Rico said that on that interview, I would say I'd look out for some more TV races in 2026 with high limit, and we'll wait and see what those are. There's not a chance in hell that we'll know before they do. But yeah, whenever 2026 comes around and April comes around, you know, look out for potentially some news with that. And that's just a guess. I'm not trying to tell you guys like they're going to announce it May 1st or anything like that, but I'd love to see sprint cars on live TV. Have I asked you about that, Eric, what your thoughts on live TV races were? Because I've shared that opinion, I think, since I came into the sport. Like, we got to get the big races on live for people to view, at least if they have a cable package for free.
Yeah, I mean, we touched about it on the numbers last week, I think it was, or 2 weeks ago, about, well, the Flow YouTube numbers, I guess. So, I mean, TV races just seem to be hard to do, that's just based on TV time. And I think as a fan in the grandstands, you get punished for that because the show starts so early to fit that TV window. And the racetrack may not be the best for heat races or stuff like that. It may be fine for features. So, unless TV networks are a little bit more leisure on time slots, which I don't think they're going to, I just don't see the stress and everything and weather and all that to work out for, you know, TV races. I mean, it'd be nice to get a couple on there, but it'd have to be something where the TV market and the, you know, race series can agree to have a good show.
Yeah, and this is how I look at it too, because it's so that, first off, that high limit TV window was an absolute joke, honestly. You're talking about a live event. You're giving them 2 hours. All signs indicated that they were going to have a clean and green night. I think it was clean and green, maybe one caution and a B, up until the A main, and they had time, and they had a lot of wrecks. They had the hole in turn 1, which my father would be very proud. I think he's listening, that I pointed out the hole at Eldora that he doesn't like. And it showed on TV to all those new people watching, like, this is a dangerous sport, especially when you can't, I shouldn't say can't, when you don't prep a track properly. Here's what can happen. And unfortunately, there's a lot of wrecks. But when these other people bring up the Knoxville Nationals and bring up the Chili Bowl and talk about it, with, at the top, and I got to stop saying, guys, I apologize to you. I'm listening to myself in my head right now. But at the top, the upper echelon of big races in the world, like I got a video of Max Pappas saying it. I've sent that to a couple of NASCAR shills that have been in my comments this year. They have no idea. They don't know what they're missing. They don't know how cool the product is on any given night consistently. I think it's one of the most consistent products in motorsports, flat out. And I think it's more consistent by a mile than a lot of other stuff that both we cover and both that we don't cover. And it is up there. It deserves to be up there. But some of these other people that have never watched a sprint car race in their life have no idea what they're missing. And we got to get in front of them. And the more people you get in the sport, the more money becomes available in the sport. Think about if Dale Jr. Got really addicted and wanted to own a sprint car team. Well, then we add another national team. And that's where it comes from in my head. Some people are worried about that. Some people don't want the sport NASCAR-ized, and they don't want the bureaucracy that would come with their imagination of whatever that would mean. And I would say you should be glad that Brad and Kyle are running it, because I think they will keep at least that part of it for the fans out of dirt racing. I think they care about it a lot. I think they work tirelessly to do that. And I see their fears. I get it. The franchise system is not very clear at all. And it looks really shady on the outside, but I'd say I think I'm encouraged by what they've done with High Limit so far and the momentum they gained today.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely seem to be growing a lot more faster than the Outlaws and Dirt Vision are. And they seem to have the right connections. And I'm guessing that's just with Larson's NASCAR being in NASCAR, more connection to having access to TVs and TV deal possibly, and access to release news like this on Dirty Mo radio, Dirty Mo media, and having Adam Stern break news. So I mean, it's they definitely seem to like to have a lot more things cooking than the Outlaws do, but it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, and I was actually texting Mazer earlier today, and if I know Brian Carter, I know he's got a move to counter this, and if he doesn't already, he's going to come up with one. The Outlaws have got a lot of money, I believe. Well, I don't believe. We haven't yet seen what the tow money situation, what the purse money is for 2026 for the Outlaws. That hasn't been announced, and same with the schedule. And I don't think anything's happening with that Eldora week. I think it's going to stay 2 High Limit, 2 World of Outlaws. But Brian Carter has both the money and the cojones to swing the baseball bat right back and hit the pinata on the other side of the, stomach, abdomen. What part is the middle of the pinata? What would you call the middle part of a donkey, Eric?
I don't know.
But yeah, I think we'll see. I think we'll see something like that. Mazer's bringing up trucks at Knoxville. I just got to say NASCAR really screwed the pooch on Brett Moffitt's jump start. So, hello, Brett, if you're watching.
Screwed the pooch on keeping NASCAR at Knoxville.
Well, I'd like to see NASCAR at Knoxville every year. I'd still like that race to happen, whether it's exciting or not. I'd love to see Knoxville and Eldora on the schedule back and forth every year. But yeah, so the Outlaws lose Tony Stewart Racing this year. They lost Casey Kane Racing last year, or 2 years ago. David Gravel's still there. Carson Macedo's still there. Buddy Kofoid is still there with Roth, JJR, and Big Game Motorsports. That's not in the same order. And I believe we could see one of those teams expand next year, and I'll let you take your guesses. But what do you think about the Outlaws? Where does this leave them? I think they still have the name recognition that they had. I think they get the fans to the track more than High Limit does. And I think High Limit will continue to grow their at-track attendance. But, right, when the Outlaws are in town, the Outlaws are in town at whatever racetrack they're at. And it doesn't seem like they have as many bad attendance nights as High Limit has this year.
Yeah, I think the Outlaws still do very well at going to racetracks and getting bigger crowds than High Limit does. High Limit seems to go to places that don't get sprint car racing and try to expand it. There's only so many racetracks that can go, between two series. It'd be nice if they chose a couple of racetracks in Iowa besides Knoxville to go to during the summer. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Outlaws will be fine. I don't think there's anything to be worried about. It sucks to lose a car like that that's always established and has good funding and is a competitive car. David Gravel seems to be licking his chops because that's one less car to worry about that's got potential to be a championship caliber car. But that doesn't say, I think you still have your Mercedes, you still have your Cofoids, and you still have your Shoeharts that can definitely be a potential championship driver in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, depending on if Rico does it this year as well, is definitely something we're looking at. It's going to be a fun end of the season. Bill Baylog picked up a win last week. He now has more wins this season than Logan Schuchart, Sheldon Haudenschild, and Donnie Schatz. I'd be lying and you'd be lying if not you specifically, Eric. I'm talking about the listener. Maybe you can claim that you wouldn't have been. But if you told me that at the start of the year, I would never believe you.
Yeah, it's been pretty interesting to see that.
What do you think it is about Baylog? Have you seen a difference in the way he drives, or have you seen a guy that's really taken, and this is kind of the side that I would line up on this, but a guy that's seen the new tires and adjusted to them and consistently gotten better and getting better every time you go out on the track and gathering more momentum. We talked to him at Huset's and how thrilled he was about what he was doing and kind of a little bit inside. And he was almost mystified by it as well, but he knows it's hard work and stuff. And we're going to talk about a couple more guys because I put it out of order on my rundown that have improved a lot. But what the North Pole Nightmare, and I'm not a big nickname guy. I love Bill Baylog's. What he's been able to do being from Alaska and winning as much as he's done in his career and taking a chance, going World of Outlaws Racing when they had lesser full-time guys. I shouldn't really say lesser, but the field split in half essentially, and he took the opportunity. And he didn't have a great 2024. He put his head down and got better. And now you see him fighting for a lot of points with the Outlaws this year.
Yeah, Baylog's been on the Outlaw Tour for 2 or 3 years. Plus he's done a lot of IRA stuff, and he's done.
Is he a 10-time IRA champion? Is that the stat?
It's up there. It's like 7 or 10. It's a lot. He's won a lot. And I think as he started being, I wouldn't say stabilized in the IRA stuff, that's when he started racing the Outlaws, started racing some of those bigger races, and then he eventually go out on the road for a month or two. So you could see him testing the waters and then eventually making the jump. So I think this is just a factor of him getting used to having the full-time Outlaws deal. Seems like they're a smaller team that has a little bit smaller budget, but I think as his popularity grows a little bit, especially with his nickname, the North Pole Nightmare, he seems like he's been being more consistent with some racetracks and running better. And as you run better at different racetracks, because you've been there once or twice, you get the opportunities like you did Saturday night and wins at a track that nobody thinks he would have won at. So, yeah, I like seeing him do well because, like I said, I think he's one of the smaller teams that runs well and does well. So, but the interesting factor is too, talking about outlaw cars is with Sheldon splitting up with the 17 car, does that take another car away from the Outlaws? I mean, that's going to be interesting as well, too, to see what happens.
There is a premium update on our Patreon about that. That is the other team that was about on the post from this morning. So if you subscribe and pay at least $5 a month, I'm saying at least because the tiers are set up 5, 10, 20. I don't know if you can customize what you pay per month, but let me know if you can, I guess. That's on there, and let me know if you guys enjoy it, if you don't enjoy it, and what you want to see on it. I'm all for feedback whenever I can get it. So please do that. Alexander Stigl, thanks for your comment. Appreciate you. I love when Eric and I get to do this and we can react to a race for a little bit and then just do our normal show. And even that was, what do you think, Eric? Probably almost the most we could talk about a race. If the A main was like really the only big news of the night. And I think we did 8 minutes on it, and like that's all we needed.
Yeah. Definitely nice to have a race to talk about from something fresh in your mind and get the instant reaction. So good race to have before the show starts.
For sure. So with High Limit tonight, because I wanted to talk about Dason Pursley and Tanner Thorson getting their first wins over the weekend. Both guys, them and Cy Lynch, I believe Cy and Dason are the two competing for that Musco Lighting Most Improved Driver Award. Have you seen like anything like that ever before? A Most Improved Award where you split the season in half and compare your, I guess, difference in average finish, and that's who gets the money?
I've seen it year by year, but I've never seen it at the halfway point. So it's interesting to kind of do it. I guess it gives you something to reset on, I guess, if you want to try to win it. I don't know how much it pays, but yeah.
$6,000.
Oh, geez, that's actually a decent amount of money. So yeah, I guess you're sticking on the tour. You have the opportunity to win it. You might as well try to make something of it and maybe go on the run and collect a little cash at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought that was cool that they did that, and I didn't. I don't think I hadn't heard too much about it before. Yeah, before they posted it this week, and I knew it and forgot it, or just didn't hear about it. But I think it's really interesting. I thought for sure Tanner Thorson would be up there. I think I underestimated how he did early in the year. I think he got better too fast because he really has impressed me, and especially that race that he won in the pass that he had to make to take that lead and get there at the end, I think on Rico, right? And take his first win. I thought that was really interesting and like a huge thing for Rod Gross Motorsports, who wasn't an established national team. Now they are. Now they're very, fourth in the driver's standings. I think they're seventh in owners. I'm looking at the points right now. Fifth in the driver's standings, right behind Justin Peck. So like just an insane year for Tanner Thorson and what he's been able to do in that car. And since I went to my first Chili Bowl and watched him win the motherfucker.
Yeah, definitely a different card than everybody else with that coilover car. So he seems to, once he gets it right, it's really fast. It just takes that little bit of right track, right time, and right car to make it go fast. So they definitely spent a lot of time on making those changes and making that switch over. And I think he's starting to get the hang of it a little bit and starting to make some progress with it.
For sure. New high limit points out with 9 races to go. Rico leads Brad Sweet by 39 points for the Drivers' Championship. And then on the owner's side, and Brent Marks is back there, I believe, 146 points behind Rico. On the owner's side, Ridge and Sons Racing, 24 points behind Rico. They fall just a little bit tonight, finishing second. I think it was 3 or 4 points they fell by. And then Brad Sweet's Casey Kane Racing, number 49, is 39 points back. And the Clausen Marshall Racing, number 7 BC, is 140 back. And 146 for Brent Marks and 5th on the owner's side. So it's Rico's title to win right now. He's in the driver's seat. Does he finish the year off with the title, Eric, and keep this thing going?
I think so. There's only maybe 5 or 6 races left or something like that.
I think it's 9.
Oh, okay. So they do race a little bit. I mean, a lot can happen in 9 races. I mean, somebody can go on a run and win, 5 out of 9, but I don't see the speed from Brad. On the car owner side, I could maybe see the RSR car winning the car owner, Rico winning the driver championship, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you don't want to count out Sweet, but it just seems like with all those changes and changes this year early on, and then changes after nationals, there's just too many things going on to succeed in winning a championship.
At least in the battle between Rico and Brad, it seems to be who's going to mess up first. They're both so consistent. They know if they got an 8th place car, they want to bring it home clean and finish 8th place. And I promise we'll get Eric out of here soon because he is tired. He does this out of the kindness of his heart. But yeah, it just seems like who's going to make the first mistake, who's going to make the last mistake, and the other one's going to win the title. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be who runs bad for 2 or 3 races. I mean, it's just, and once you had that, the margin for error is probably going to be just too much to overcome.
For sure. Some cleanup news, and we'll kind of go through this part fast, and then we'll talk late models for 10 minutes. But Jacksonville Speedway promoter or owner, I think it might be both. But Kenny Dobson had a lengthy public release or a statement on what happened at Jacksonville Speedway last weekend, where a car flipped on the front stretch and was not seen for 3 laps by officials at the facility. He shouldered the blame for the whole thing. I won't put it on here. The text is too small for you guys to read anyway. It's on our Twitter page. If you go under media, it's posted under there. And if you look up Jacksonville Speedway on Facebook, it's posted there as well. I just want to say Kenny Dobson did exactly what you should do in this situation. He took the blame for it, said there was circumstances, and he explains this, that led him to not being in the typical spot he stands to watch the races. And it would have been his call to make, to throw a yellow or red flag. Not his call solely, but he would have been the one that's supposed to be watching the front stretch or the whole track to make that decision. And I just wanted to shout him out because if you have a PR blunder in dirt racing, it doesn't usually get taken care of like this. His statement was exactly what you're supposed to say. It should be a 101 for any track on how to handle a PR shitstorm. And I wanted to say the announcer, Tommy Cook, had said he felt bad in the release. He shouldn't feel bad at all. That was pure passion. And I don't think he came off bad. I don't think you can say he made the track look bad, but he really didn't. He's just concerned for a driver's safety. And I thought he handled it exactly how he should. And Kenny afterwards, that whole release and typing out as many words as he did, not that the word count was what's impressive about it. The statement was genuine and from the heart, and you could tell. And I'm not one to pick apart PR statements. That Iowa Speedway IndyCar one, I didn't look at a single. I read it through once, and I said, I'm not talking about a single word of this. It's all bullshit you just conjured up to say whatever, limp message you want to say. But Kenny, that release was awesome. That's exactly how he should have handled it. I don't know if you saw any of that, Eric, or if you have anything to say about that.
I saw the clip of where the announcer was going bedonkers about the car on the racetrack and them not throwing the red flag for like 4 or 5 laps or even a caution. And then I did read the post from Kenny about that, and just seemed like it was just a bad place, bad timing, wrong place, wrong time for both sides of the party, both for people inside and him outside. Sounds like they were short staffed, and he was trying to get the payout ready for some drivers in another class so they can go home for the night. But yeah, I mean, just something that slipped, and unfortunately, when it slipped, the worst outcome happened, and yeah, and then you had what you had happen, and unfortunately, it was broadcast nationally on Dirt Vision. So just kind of a bad deal overall. But a lot of ownership took it from the owner side and promoter side.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you there. there's a new format at the Four Crown Nationals. It's going to be a 3-day event. I'm interested to see how this works. If any night feels like there's lesser stuff than the other nights, or if people care about that, I should say. I'm usually, as long as I watch one A main, and the A main was the real story of the night, which I go to a race to watch a race. I don't go to the race to figure out or to watch good qualifying races to get into the race I went there to see. I care about the A main at the end of the night. Some of you dirt guys are different than me. Eric's going to trash me on that if I say too much more. But I'm excited to see what that looks like with High Limit being there at Eldora, in what they do with having 3 days instead of 2 this year. So they didn't do 3 last year, did they?
I don't think. I think the one night was the Wayne Sprint cars and non-Wayne, and then I think the other night was non-Wayne and the rest of the USAC classes. So I think that's how it went.
For sure. I'm excited to watch Justin Grant hop around the pits and then kick everyone's ass. I think he's got to gain just a few points to wrap up the Silver Crown title. So really cool to see. Really inspiring for a guy like me that can't walk right now. You can't see my crutches in the frame, but they're back there. And then shout out to our guy, Ayrton Jennington, back in the Power Eye points lead 2 weekends in a row with a win for him. So very happy for Ayrton. We'll have him on here soon. Bit of a late model silly season news going into the late model nationals. Mike Marlar departs Skyline Motorsports. He's going to retain Bruning as a sponsor. So it's, he's departing, but the relationship between those two are still there. And he's going back to Ronnie Delk's team, which when the 157 is fast, it's usually because Ronnie Delk and Mike Marlar are together. And God, they were bad fast before he moved to Skyline. He won his first race out with Skyline, but he has not been the dominant Mike Marlar that we were used to before that. So I'm excited to see what that turns into and when we see that. And I don't think we'll see him at Knoxville this weekend, but if he's there, I'll definitely catch up with him. So, Eric, how much do you watch the Fender Rockets?
Middle of the racing season, I'll catch a couple features, whether that's Outlaws or Lucas. But by the time like this happens, I just can't keep up with it. Just too much going on. So with other sports and everything.
That's fair. I'm excited to have a season, like a fall late model season, where I can watch every race and pay attention to everyone. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I used to be watching college football a lot more than I am now. So I want to see if that fall winner take all NASCAR style 4 guys race for one championship at Eldora with the Dirt Track World Championship a couple years ago. When that happened, and still to this day, I call it the most talked about dirt late model race that started after the NFL did. And I want to see if that holds true. I think it will. And I wouldn't say those words if I didn't believe in it. But I do want to see that. And I also want to point out that the Knoxville Late Model Nationals got a $60,000, I believe, in increase in purse money for this year. And I'm excited to get down there. I'll be in the wheelchair again. So you guys can point and laugh or try to trip the wheel. That'd be actually super funny. Eric, give me like your top 3 late model guys you cheer for on. I don't know how you pick your drivers, if it's paint scheme, personality, or how they drive, but give me your top 3 and why.
I guess number 1 has been Brandon Shepard, because I guess Brandon is a Illinois fan. So that's just something. I remember he made shirts for the Illini 100 a couple years ago, and he put the Chief logo on his T-shirt, so I thought that was badass. So I'll stick with that as my number 1.
I'm gonna ask him why he hasn't made any more. If the top 10
needs to make more. He needs to make one next year. If the Illini make the top 10 for the rest of the year or goes to the college football playoffs, he needs to make the Chief shirts again. I'm pretty sure it was a Chief shirt.
It might have been. Do you think it's like an Illinois logo? Because I know the Illini 100 used to use that Chief logo. I don't know if it's the same one though.
I think he used the actual university logo, but that used to be the university logo.
That's pretty sweet, especially if the university doesn't pick up on it, or assuming they'd be okay if they found it.
I want to see. I want to look at it and see if Illini 100 shirt. I want to see if I can find it in Google. Just curious and see. Gosh darn it.
You're good.
I would say Shepard's number one. 2. I just like Davenport just because of his personality.
Well, Eric aligning himself with the guy that calls Knoxville Raceway a dump every year. Somehow people are still not tired of that joke. So I guess we'll make it again on Thursday or Friday whenever I talk to Jonathan.
Yeah. Let's see. Number 3. Number 3 would be. I don't know. I'm looking at the entry list here. Gosh, who's the guy that was from Iowa that raced all the time? That won a bunch of races.
Ricky Thornton Jr., Tyler Birding.
No, he's a local guy. I have his T-shirt of his.
Dolan Murdy?
No, he's from Muscatine or somewhere around there.
Jesus, I thought for sure I'd get it at some point.
Model driver, Muscatine. I think he's from Muscatine, Iowa.
It's not Ryan Gustin from Marshalltown, is it?
No, he's retired now.
Oh.
Brian Burkhofer. That's who it is.
Oh.
My dad and his sister were big fans watching him when they went to the races. So I'll go with them.
I think a two-time, I believe Knoxville Late Model Nationals winner, if not one. I might be thinking of Bloomquist. Bobby Pierce won this race last year. I had it up. Gosh darn it. Brandon Shepard finished second, Max Blair, Devin Moran, and then Dalton Wilson actually rounded out the top 5. And Wilson started on the pole. There's been some rumors surrounding his ride with his late model team with JRR, and we'll definitely be talking to him this week. And I believe they're supposed to be there at Knoxville, and I'm excited to hear what he's got to say. Especially, when rumors fly like that, you first off don't want to say where there's smoke, there's fire. You don't want to assume anything makes an ass out of you and me, right? But I want to see kind of what he has to say, and then it's a race where he performed last year and came home with a top 5 finish, even though he went backwards. What can you do with that notebook you built last season, and what will it look like this year?
Yeah, I'm busy trying to figure out. You got me focused on trying to find.
No, you're good now. Oh, you're fine. Okay, no, that's perfect.
I want to prove you that you actually made it.
Yeah, no, we should find out. And I will ask him if he's gonna make any more, because
he should.
I love the
because I think I missed out on buying one for some reason, because I was just starting to watch late model racing.
For sure. Anything like crossover sports, especially with college football, I very much enjoy. Some of the others from this event, we've had 5 different winners in the last 5 races, not 5 years. Ricky Thornton Jr. won it in 2023. Jonathan Davenport actually won it in 2022. Mike Marler in 2021. And then Jimmy Owens went back-to-back 2 years before that. And Mike Marler won again back-to-back the 2 seasons before that. And Burkhofer won twice. And then the 2014 race, I think he said he won it, and then he promptly retired. He's like, that's what I wanted to accomplish in dirt racing, and hung it up essentially. And I always thought that was just a super cool story.
I remember seeing him win, I think his last time there at the Late Model Nationals, I think, or something like that. He finished very good. So, but that was always a big deal when he won that race. So,
yeah, and I think it's you were a guy, or you've been a guy, and then we're gonna put this Kurt Schroeder video on after this, everyone. So that's a 40-minute interview, really not exciting, really interesting. Won't scare you to death or anything like that.
When they found it.
We're gonna talk a lot. a lot of late model nationals in that. But Eric, you've been to Knoxville your whole life. You've seen different iterations and different days of this event. What do you think of the Knoxville Late Model Nationals and what it has grown into? I've only heard stories of like way back in the day, it was much bigger, and I don't know. Oh, you sent this to me.
I found it.
Oh, so that's the Illini logo you're talking about.
Yep, the old Chief logo. So he definitely needs to make that again. I would buy that a million times.
Here's you can at least see the logo.
Yeah.
So
and it's got it on the T-shirt on the backside. So definitely got to ask him for me, Connor.
I will. Yeah. No, that'll be the first video I go and film.
Yep.
Because Bobby Pierce, I'm sure, will be being a prima donna in his car until he wakes up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, he's probably busy making TikToks with his girlfriend.
But no, what do you think of the Late Model Nationals and how much it has grown? Because it feels like to me, and I've been coming to it, I think, every year since 21, and I think I missed at least one of them. And I know last year I barely got there in time for the feature, but it feels like it's been growing every year. Do you share that sentiment?
I think the car count has been down the last 3 or 4 years.
You're a car count guy. I guess the late model fans are very much car count oriented. I'm not a car count guy. I think you need 2 of them there, and that's all it takes. I watched a Ford truck monster truck show at Knoxville. It wasn't great, but it was okay. As long as those 2 raced at the end, it was fine. It was pretty poor though. It wasn't great. They weren't back, so you know why.
The money's there. I feel like it's a decent paying race. Unfortunately, I feel like the car count's just been low, especially the last couple of years. Because I remember going to like a Friday night or Thursday night show, and there was probably a total of 30 or 32 cars there, and maybe the 5 in the back were very, very slow. So, yeah, I mean, it's just it'd be nice to get like a 40 or 45 car field just to have a couple decent heat races and shows, but I mean, you get what you get in cars. But I think it's a good event. I think it's a good event to have for Knoxville, especially at the end of the year. And it's probably not the best track for late models to race at, but it's I mean, it's still a different. There's nothing wrong with nothing wrong with them racing on there. I guess maybe the berm's been knocked down a little bit for them to race this weekend, but we'll see what happens.
I will get a track report with Brad Shear and the Duncans, if not just a relay of whatever Brad tells me. And that might come out in the tweet. It might come out in the video. We'll be there all weekend. Late model fans, if you don't know us, usually during the Knoxville Nationals, we do infield beers with people. It's video segment after every night. Try to pick the best story or the funnest guy to talk to. So through the night, if you want to nominate anyone for who we pick, go for it. And we'll try to have a beer with them and sit down for 10 minutes. It's something that John Walters at Iowa State walks down and does like a 94 feet thing like Jay Billis did on College Game Day. And then obviously D-Suave does all the way around the track for flow racing and graciously allows us to do this. Is not, I almost said in his memory, he's very much alive. So don't yell at me for that, but I very much an inspiration for why we do it and when we do it. So we'll have that all weekend. Subscribe to the Patreon if you can, even if it's free. We got some cool stuff coming there. Let us know what you think of anything and the feedback and stuff. And excited. I will ask Brandon Shepard about that. That'll be the first video I do on Thursday. Eric is just talk to him about the Illini for you.
Yeah, just ask him what his thoughts are and when those new T-shirts are going to come out.
Who they got this? Did they play this weekend?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
It's Indiana, isn't it?
Indiana, Saturday Night Football. So,
are you scared of Kurt Signetti?
No.
Really? Okay.
They did not get challenged enough last year to show that they are very good, team. I think they're a very good team. I'm curious to see what happens, but the coach himself, as Kurt, he's got a pretty good coaching background, but I will take Bielema over him.
Has Illinois been challenged enough as a very good team?
I mean, they played on the road at Duke, but Duke is lost.
Yeah. I'm a guy that I picked Duke as my team on old college basketball games because they had the same colors as Drake, and they got invited to the Maui Invitational every year. And I've shied away from my Duke fandomship in previous years. Sorry, D-Suave. I know you're a big Duke guy. That being said, the football atmosphere at Duke, I guess it's a Power 4, Power 5 road game. That's not an atmosphere that you got to brag about winning in.
No, I mean, just the way they kind of beat them, though, was pretty cool to see. So
they did beat down on Duke. I will say that
their home crowd definitely didn't show up, but they.
You can't admit that. You can't admit that after you lead with "We won at Duke" at Wallace Wade Stadium. You can't say that home crowd didn't show up. Just pretend like they did. No one's fact checking that.
Everybody in the sports world decided they wanted to pick Duke that week as their pick of the week on the spread. So
it's that Tulane quarterback that's over there.
Yeah, $4 million to get scammed.
Hey,
to go lose at Tulane the next week after they lost to Illinois.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm not a Duke fan anymore. They don't win enough for me. I'll just say that.
And Manny Diaz has his bags ready to pack and ready to go to a different job, I think.
He was bad at Miami. He's bad at Duke.
He's getting to leave.
Yeah, hopefully, and especially in this time in college football, you get less chances and less years and less games to do anything, improve any program. So I did want to throw in real quick, the last 10 national championship winning teams did not get a win in Jonesboro, Arkansas. So Iowa State has now done that, and we'll see. I'm just saying. We'll see if they're top 10 after this week. Maybe Illinois loses and helps us move up. I won't wish that, though. I'm not cheering for that. I would like –
if Illinois beats Indiana and they beat USC, I think it's, I don't know, don't want to say it, but I might see it in the playoffs. So
yeah, I'm with you. And there's a lot of people that like if this team beats USC, and I'm really excited to see them crash and burn because they're not that good. And closing the practice off to media and being a real dickhead all summer. Not the act of closing it off to media, it was how they got put in a pickle. And how they handled it. It was really embarrassing for USC. And I don't think any of the Pac-12 schools are really all that, minus Oregon. And I can't wait to see USC crash and burn. There's no chance Notre Dame has the strength of schedule to get in the playoffs. So that's enough college football. Sorry to talk your ears off. You're going to hear a little bit more tonight. So I apologize for you guys. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. One of our bigger audiences on the show tonight. So, yeah, all I can say is thank you. We'll be at Knoxville all weekend for Late Model Nationals, and I'm going to put on this interview with Kurt Schroeder, SLMR late model driver, a walk-on football player at Iowa State, turned scholarship guy, turned late model racer out of his own garage. So really cool story. Excited for you guys to listen to it. And thanks for watching us. Appreciate y'all. All right, guys, we are now joined by a very special guest and my good friend and SLMR series late model driver, Kurt Schroeder. Kurt, what's up, man? How's it going? No. Thanks for taking the time right before Knoxville Late Model Nationals.
Yeah, no problem. You know, I always come on your show if you ask me. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Absolutely. We'll get you on a lot more, too. We got to line up guests for the off season and stuff. And I got a lot of cool ideas. We're going to do some, this is a bit inside baseball before we get into you, because you have a really cool story that I'm excited to tell on here. We're going to do like some shop tours and kind of have, especially when I can walk again, I have you guys take us around the shops, you know, do it live with microphones and stuff, and have podcasts that way over the off season, over the winter. So I'm excited for that. But the Iowa State fans will love this, because we're going to get into college football. I'm sure we're going to talk late models, everything we can about what this week is. But let's start with your story, Kurt. You walked on as an Iowa State football player. Tell me about what led into that decision, what year it was, and, you know, everything that went into that.
Yeah, so I went to a small high school in eastern Iowa, Comanche. We were 3A my junior year, 2A my senior year. I played tight end, defensive end / outside linebacker. Playing college football was kind of like my dream then. That's what I wanted to do. Like, I loved college football. I was an Iowa State fan because my dad was an Iowa State fan. I was a Miami Hurricanes fan because they were the dynasty at that time. So I reached out to the coaches late junior year and asked, what I need to do to walk on. Coach Woodley, whose son is now the coach at Grandview, was super awesome.
Joe Woodley?
Yeah, his dad was
Drake now, and I'm very excited about Drake. I'm picking Drake on Saturday to beat South Dakota.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But so his dad was the outside linebackers coach at that time. Talked to him. He kind of guided me through what I needed to do. So walked on. It's rough as a walk-on, but
especially cool. Back, I feel like now the walk-ons, especially those guys at Iowa, they did a lot for walk-ons, and there's a few others. But like being a walk-on now is, I feel like, a lot easier, especially with NIL. That makes it easier. But even the last 10 to 15 years, they've had these like walk-on associations, and not unions, not anything like that, but just stuff to give those guys resources and stuff. And you didn't have any of that.
No, I didn't. No, everything was paid for myself up until my senior year when I earned a scholarship. So that was nice having my senior year paid for. And by that time, I played mainly special teams my junior and senior years at Iowa State. So, yep. Yeah, it was fun. I got to go to a lot of cool places, play with a lot of cool guys, Sage, Seneca, Ennis Haywood, really, really good people, really good football players, and got to play at Texas A&M, got to play at Colorado, was in the Insight Bowl that we won, was in the Independence Bowl that we lost to Alabama. That was my last game. So there was a lot of cool places and cool people. So,
I'm a big Sage fan. I'm not telling that story on this show, but you're the first bowl team, the first ever bowl winning team in Iowa State history. I think that's a cool thing to have your name on, whether you were in the game or not. But earning the scholarship your senior year, and I wanted you to say that because obviously with what the program has turned into. Let me rephrase how I'm going to ask you this. How cool is it to see how Matt Campbell has transformed Iowa State and the players that have, in similar ways earned their scholarships by being special teams menaces, like a guy like Darian Porter?
Where the program is now, it's awesome to me. It makes me really proud because it's where I always dreamed it to be, where I wanted to be when I was playing. Little jealous that they get to play in all these big games, play in the Fiesta Bowl, which one of my dreams growing up was always like the Orange Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, playing one of those cool bowl games. Never quite got there, but the year that they played in the Fiesta Bowl, that was pretty cool. That made me really proud. And, and then last year, the bowl game playing against Miami, my other favorite team, that was pretty cool too. So, it's always cool to see like walk-ons who, excel at special teams, kickoff return, kickoff, whatever, and then, get a chance to play, their position. It happened a lot last year with the linebackers because we had so many injured that you had like, some of the younger guys like Barnes and Goodwin getting a lot of playing time and stuff like that. So that's always cool to see. And
I feel like people don't realize, for the Iowa State fans, and I promise, guys, we will get to dirt late model racing. This is nerd out time for me as a big Iowa State guy too. But Brent Eskildson last year, I think, appeared in either 10 of 12 or all 12 games. I'm getting them mixed up with someone else, but on special teams, and they raved about him. And now he's arguably Iowa State's number 1 or 2 wide receiver. And I don't think anyone really knew that about him, at least coming into this year and what he's been able to do too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, special teams is a chance to prove yourself, to show, how hard you can play, show some athleticism. Once you do that, then they kind of like, okay, this guy's playing hard. He's giving it all. He's got some, athleticism to them. Let's try them at their position now and see how they can stack up at wide receiver or safety or linebacker or whatever that position may be. So it's kind of special teams is kind of like a proving grounds. So
what you mentioned, Colorado and Texas A&M, what was the coolest place you were in, like, you know, factoring in atmosphere and stuff like that, place, game that you saw or game that you played in over your career?
I'd say the coolest place we played was Texas A&M, just because that stadium was massive. Like, you're standing down there on the field on the kickoff team, and you look up and you're just like, holy cow.
Were the crowds just as sold out as
I don't think it was completely sold out, but it was pretty full. I mean, you look up there and it's triple deck.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, dang, you know, that's crazy. The Colorado game my senior year at Colorado, it was snowing. So that was just kind of like a cool scene, you know, with the mountains in the background of the stadium and it's snowing, you know, and that we won the game. That helps too. So, but I mean, those were just like two that really stick out. Nebraska, you know, that's always a sold out place. I'm not going to give their stadium credit because
that's what they say. It's always sold out, right?
They're
never empty seats in Nebraska.
So their stadium was, I'm not sure if it's still the same way, but to get from the locker room to the field, you had to walk through like the concession area, and their fans would line that as you walk through there. And I got spit on. So like I didn't like that at all. Like, you can heckle me, taunt me, I don't care, but you spit on me when I was walking through. That's gross. So
Nebraska started that, not Dak Prescott.
Right.
I was shocked that's college football though. That happened in the NFL, and 2 days later it happens in college football. And
yeah.
Just the dumbest and most unpredictable stuff at any and all times, which I think you can also say about dirt racing, dirt late models. You could say about sprint cars too. I'm not giving those guys shit. Knoxville Late Model Nationals are coming up this week. You, a few years ago, decided to go super late model racing. What was your background in racing before you decided to get a late model, and how tough was it to get into this?
So I grew up around racing. My uncle raced modifieds when I was a little kid. Then he moved to limited late model class, racing over at like West Liberty, Macokota, Dubuque, the Eastern Iowa tracks where I grew up. But I've always loved late models, and that's what I've always wanted to race. So when it came time for me to start racing, that's what I wanted to jump into. Right out of college, that's pretty expensive. So I started in that limited late model class. It's pretty much late model. At that time, it was pretty much late model, just with 2-barrel carburetor, skinnier tires. After a few years of that and living out in central Iowa, and that class was mainly an Eastern Iowa class, so I was going to West Liberty every week to race and stuff like that. I was like, well, there's IMCA late model tracks out here that I can start racing. So then I started racing Des Moines, Webster City, you know, those tracks. Des
Moines was the state fairgrounds tracks for the
yeah. I love that track. I miss it.
I've never heard a bad thing. Never heard a bad thing about it. And I think the only thing I ever saw there was like a monster truck show in 2006, and it was one of the independent companies. So some of the trucks weren't very fast. I'd never seen like non-Monster Jam monster trucks. So it was a real shell shock to me, but it was still, at the same time, it was like, it's etched into my memory forever. I'm pissed I never got down there for a sprint car race or a late model race, because I wish I could have had the luxury to see it.
Yeah, I ran pretty good there, so that's one of the reasons I like it a lot. So I ran there, then they closed up, and then, you know, we started doing more Deary Brothers IMCA Summer Series stuff and racing at Marshalltown on Friday nights instead of Des Moines. Still racing Webster City. After a few years of that, you know, I started noticing this SLMR thing over in Nebraska. And I was like, you know what, that might be cool. Little change of scenery, racing with some different guys. And so I started doing that. Heck, I've probably been doing SLMR 6 years now. Started out like the first 2 years, I think it was just, maybe the first year it was just they only had the one series. and now they have the East and the West. And we've been running the East and the West series, all those races since they started it. Where my location is, it works out nice because I'm like right in the middle of the East and the West series. So, I might have to travel 4.5 hours east to the East series. I might have to travel 5 hours west to the furthest West series. So it works out. And for the most part, it's a very competitive series. There's a lot of good drivers there. Like, I don't think a lot of people understand that. There's
Chad Simpson's like second in points right now.
What's that?
Chad Simpson's second.
Yeah, I mean,
points right now. If that tells you anything about the names in it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you got Dylan Thornton, who is really good. You got Dolan, who's in his first year in a late model, and like that kid's just good. Like, he's going to be really good, And then you got, the regulars, Bill Layton, Tad Pospisil, Corey Zeitner, Kyle Burke, the names that you heard from Nebraska for a long time. So, like those guys are all still there. And then you got the newer guys. So like, it's a really competitive series. So, but that makes it fun. It's fun racing against good drivers. That's why every once in a while I like to venture out and run some of these open motor races, even though I don't have an open motor yet. Because it's still fun to go on the small tracks, where you might be able to compete with them and race against those guys. Because racing with those guys, you learn how hard you can drive your car. That's what I always like. Last year when I ran Husets with the Lucas Oil guys, like I thought I did decent for what for being down 150, 200 horsepower to those guys. But I learned how hard I could drive my car. And then that just helps me the rest of the season when I'm racing against my SLMR people that I'm used to racing against. I don't like to say this, but you do get in a comfort zone. So you need to get out of your comfort zone every once in a while and see how hard you can push things. So then you can apply that back to your regular series that you race with or regular weekly track. So
yeah, no, in growing up, like when I was playing hockey, and I was playing like up age groups and stuff, it was always I learned more. I played better when I was playing against older kids or better competition because I learned more and like my instincts were more matched up. And then I'd go play whatever age group was normal for me, and I'd almost play worse because I'd like, not that I played down to people, but it was so comforting. You make more mistakes because you're not as on your game as you need to be.
Right.
And you're 12 years old. Like that doesn't help either. That, the ADHD part with that, but no, doing that in what you've been able to do in a late model, what's been you could go funnest or craziest race day. Give me that story from your 6-year SLMR run here.
Funnest. I mean, there's some races that I really look forward to every year. I'd say like my top 4 races that I look forward to every year that are always fun for me is like the De France Memorial at Marshalltown. The Husets race I'm really, really taking a liking to just because I like that track. I like the facility. I think it's a really cool facility. Like when you're down in the infield there, it feels like you're in a football stadium because the infield's down so low and the stands are so high. So that's a cool feeling. I really like the Howard County Fair up in Cresco because when we go up there, like the stands are just absolutely packed. That's the only time of the year they see late models. And like, seriously, you can't fit 10 more people in those stands. And after the races, they're all walking through the pits and they love that we're there and they're like thanking us and everything. That's cool. And then of course the Knoxville week, like
you get to see me.
Love Knoxville. Like and I get to see you. But I've
next
always
year I'll be at a lot more SLMR races. I promise you that. I'll probably do some with you. We'll have to figure out the Iowa State problem. All right. We'll probably talk about in a sec too, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I always love the Knoxville. Wish I was running with the big guys, but that's not in the cards yet. Maybe next year, working on some things, trying to get an open motor and stuff like that to do more open motor stuff next year. So maybe we'll see what we can do. But those are like the 4 races that I really look forward to every year, and I think they're just fun. So.
So Kurt was he's nice enough to let me stay in his hauler when I need to at certain events. And so I stayed with him the last 2 times that we watched Iowa State games together inside of his hauler. They lost to Ohio. And I think Campbell's record since that game is nuts.
Yeah, I saw that stat where since that guy yelled at him, it's crazy.
I thought that was going to be the downfall of Iowa State. We had every post about late models that night. I had an Iowa State fan who the fuck replying to me or messaging me, who the fuck cares? Why are you tweeting about racing? And I'm trying to do my job, and you guys are just bitching about this game that happened at 4:00, and then the coach yelled at a fan. Goddamn, man, crazy. And then Chris is texting me I think it's a great look for him because it shows he's not a robot. Everyone knows he's not a robot already, Chris. I think he'll be all right. But then the one before, they were in a game against Texas, and NFL wide receiver drops a wide open 60-yard pass that would have sealed at least a shot at a game-winning field goal. And we were kind of I don't think we can watch a race. We got to watch an Iowa State game not in an infield, and then we'll step forward and do it in an infield again.
No more watching it in my hauler or listening to it in my trailer.
Yeah, that was the Ohio game was the weird one because we couldn't get it on a TV anywhere.
Yeah, and that was at Knoxville.
Yeah.
So we were in my race trailer listening to it. The Texas game we were out in Nebraska.
Yeah, the last weekend of I-80.
Yeah, because that Friday night we watched the sprint cars there, the World of Outlaw sprint cars there, and then we raced there on Saturday night. And so we were watching that game on the computer in my hauler that day.
It was very fun times, both times. I would not, if we weren't both superstitious, I think I'd do it again in the heartbeat.
Yeah. I'm probably a little superstitious. People would say.
just a little stitious. No, it's so cool to have people like you in the sport that I can just text them a week out and say, hey, I'm going to be there. Can I stay at your place? And it helps me out because we don't have the money to stay at hotels every race trip that we make. If I did that, I'd be completely broke. We're very close, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
No, especially with running your own race team, and it's you and your brother some weekends, right? But he's not there every week.
He goes I would say he's there 99% of the time.
Oh, okay. So I think completely understand.
I think the only races he missed this year were the first weekend when I was up at Makokata running with the Mars series, and then that's it. He was gonna miss the first night of Huset's when I was running with Tri-State, but he got there right as they were starting. So yeah, he only missed that Mars weekend, which was fine because that was mainly a testing weekend, it's a new car, and plus I'm in Eastern Iowa, so I have my cousin who can come over and help. My mom's there; she can help me, and my aunt. So that wasn't a big deal. But yeah, he helps me probably 99% of the time. He usually comes out once a week during the week to do his maintenance stuff on the race car, and then I'll do my maintenance stuff as the week goes on. So we have a pretty good system down of who does what, to make sure everything gets done. So how cool is it to have, it's a family member. So it kind of changes your dynamic of things. I feel like you guys can. Yeah. I mean, and he raced
whatever you wanted to each other and you'll be fine. But to have someone that dedicated as well, that's helping you out so much.
Yeah. I mean, he grew up racing just like I did, I helped my uncle. And then when I went off to college, he kind of started helping my uncle and got into it, and then when he graduated college, he raced IMCA late models for a couple years before he retired from that. And we get along pretty well. We get mad at each other sometimes, but I think for the most part, we stay pretty cool. Funny story, up at Huset's on that Saturday night, we always take the left rear axle out of the axle to roll the car around easier and stuff. And he had taken the left rear axle out and he didn't put it. The rule is you take the axle out, you put it in the driver's seat. So that way you remember to put it in. Well, he didn't put it back in the driver's seat. I roll out there for hot laps on Saturday night at Huset's with the Lucas Oil guys, not the SLMR guys, because we're done with that. Or what? Maybe it was.
They might have been done. It was a different date last year, wasn't it?
I don't remember. I don't remember if it was a Friday or not. But I roll out there, and I'm driving through the pits. I'm like, something feels weird. Like, did I not bolt that spring back on the car that I took off and checked? I was like, something just feels weird. I get out on the track, I'm wiggling the car, and I'm like, something feels really weird. And I was like, it almost feels like I don't have an axle in the left rear. So I gun it a couple times to see if it, as soon as they wave the green flag to go for hot laps, I get on it and I'm just like, yep, I don't have an axle. And the whole time we're rolling around packing the track before that, I have my hand out the window trying to signal my brother like, hey, something's wrong. Does something look funny on the car? And he's not paying attention. And then as soon as I pull in the infield, like they threw the green flag and I pulled in right away because I knew what it was. And I pull in my pits and he's like, I know. I was like, I'm not mad. Like, it's kind of funny. At least it happened now in hot laps and not like going out to time trial or heat race or something. But he felt really, really bad about it. So it's just kind of a funny story. Like, you know, some people probably would have got pissed and mad about that, but I was just like, it's hot laps. I've already raced 2 or 3 times on this track this week. Like, the hot laps weren't really that needed, you know, so just learn from it. Make sure we put that axle back in the seat anytime we pull it out. So
no, absolutely. You know, I think there's a lot of people that will get mad at that stuff, and sometimes it's like, this is a waste of time for you guys to be yelling.
It's I was more like, okay, let's get the axle in and watch the track. Like, it's just me and him. We don't have time to sit there and yell at each other and argue and throw tools at each other and stuff like that. We got to get done. You know, they hurry our races through pretty quick. So there's not a lot of time. So like, I try to schedule things out, and this is probably just me being like a list maker and stuff like that. But I'm like, okay, if I go out for hot laps and we got to change the gear, I'll tell them like, this is the gear I want. It's here ready to go. Or, oh, if we need to change a spring or a shock, it's sitting right here. Like, everything, I usually try to have everything scheduled out and sitting there to make it as easy as possible, because I know we're going to be in a hurry changing stuff. That's why it's hard when like you break something or you get in a wreck and then you're like scrambling to try to fix stuff. But even stuff like that, I try to have prepared. Like, we were at Harlan and in the heat race, I got taken out, nose got wrecked. I have a spare nose in the trailer. You know, I tell him like, okay, pull that nose off. I'll get the one out of the trailer. We have a new nose on in probably 20 minutes and we're ready to go for the B main. So I try to have stuff like that ready to go. So we're not like missing a race or something like that because something got wrecked or because we needed to change something. So,
well, yeah. And you need that stuff. And I call it like my version of Murphy's Law. Is like, everything I own is going to break.
I have enough. If you go, my trailer's probably like got way too much stuff in it, you know. And you would like it
more stuff in, but you're way more organized than you give yourself credit for.
The way you would like, though, the way I have my nose in my trailer, because it's like the sprint car guys when they hang the wings from the ceiling. Like, my nose is pretty much hanging up on the ceiling because it's the only place that there's room enough to put it there, and I want to have a nose ready to go. So, and then I have a spot up front of the trailer where I have like an extra hood, you know, a couple sets of doors, some deck panels, extra spoilers, you know. So I have an extra rear end in there. I've been carrying around a spare motor. So I almost have enough stuff to like rebuild the car if I needed to.
That's awesome. And that's like one thing you need in racing when you're such a small team, that, you know, things are going to happen, you know, especially like on the road with the hauler, you know, getting to the track, making sure everything's there when you get there.
And when you drive out 5 hours to like Deschler, Nebraska, and you race there, and then you have another race like around that area the next night, like, you don't have time to drive all the way back home and get a part if you need it. So I try to have everything we need. You know, if you wreck something really, really bad, then you're not going to race. But, you know, I try to have everything I would need to fix the car. You know, I have a welder in there, you know, a porta power, you know, everything, cut things up and weld them back together. So.
Oh yeah. No. So I asked you about your most memorable days of your career. Do you have any good Sage Rosenfeld stories? Is there any funny, or, you know, Ennis, Seneca? I'm trying to think who was on that.
I got a good Ennis Haywood story because me and him were pretty good friends, and I had some friends in the dorm that were non-athletes, and they had a intramural basketball team, and so like I would play on that team, and Ennis would play on that team, and we would just give the ball to Ennis, and he would just score every time. It was funny. It was like LeBron, just give him the ball at the top of the key, he'd just drive and score. Like, no, they couldn't guard him, so it was like. Yeah, he was like our cheat code back in intramural days.
That's amazing. No, we did that playing intramural hockey, and they moved us up. We won the championship our freshman year, and then the second year they moved us up a bracket before we played a game, and we had added kids that couldn't skate. And I'm like, we're not doing this. I said the next year no one's showing up to a game sober until the playoffs start where they start counting stuff, and we lost every prelim game from then on out.
I do have a funny intramural wrestling story.
Go for it.
Because so it was my freshman year.
So because you wrestled too.
No, I didn't.
Not at Iowa State. Oh, you didn't wrestle at all in high school?
No.
What made you want to go out for intramural wrestling?
I played football and ran track. That's all I did. So I had a bunch of guys on my dorm floor that were like decent wrestlers in high school. And they like, oh, let's get a team together for the intramural wrestling. But they needed someone at heavyweight. And, you know, I was like 215 because I was playing football. And they're like, hey, do you want to wrestle? And I was like, I've never wrestled in my life. I barely watched, you know, wrestling. And they're like, oh, let's just go to the rec center and we'll just teach you the basics, you know? And so like, they're teaching me like how to start when you're down and how to start when you're up and stuff like that. And I was like joking around, like, just teach me how to cradle someone. I'm just going to cradle them and pin them, you know, like it's super easy, you know? And they're just like looking at me like, dude, you're not going to pin anyone.
They make it look super easy. I've had so many friends. One of my buddies, when we were in high school, he was like the state champion 106 pounder, and we're playing pool basketball, and he's got me in a fucking hold, and I couldn't move. And I'm like, how are you doing this? I'm 100 pounds heavier than you are right now.
Yeah. So they teach me the stuff that I need to know, and we go to the first match, and I'm the last one to go. They all get beat. And I'm just like, great. All these guys were good wrestlers in high school. They're getting beat. I've never wrestled in my life. I'm going to get pinned. I'm going to look stupid because I'm supposed to be this big, strong football player. So the ref starts the match, and the guy charges at me. We both go flying out of bounds. And I'm like, what the heck was that? Well, that guy was like winded, like, because he was a bigger guy, and like he used all of his energy to just like throw us both out of bounds. So like they restart the match, I shoot in on him, I cradle him, and I pin him.
So he knew what he was doing a little bit.
Like all my friends were so pissed. Like they're like, you just pinned that guy, and you've never wrestled in your life. I was like, I know. I told you just needed to teach me how to shoot, cradle, and pin. So it was funny. So then I was like, oh, this ain't bad. So then I signed up for the individual tournament and won 3 matches and won my weight bracket. The only time I've ever wrestled in my life. So yeah, I retired undefeated.
You're athletic. Like I feel like every small town high school football player that still talks about state championship days, like they just aspire to be you. have those stories like that.
Yeah, it was funny. Like my friends from the dorm they were all so pissed because they all got beat, and here comes this guy who's never wrestled. He pins this guy.
That's amazing. No, I guess, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, touch on? College football, late models, anything? I do have one, and think about that for a sec. But what rule? And I'm trying to ask every driver this on the show. What rule about dirt late model racing would you change or implement? I guess going into next season, what if you could change anything? If you could put in one rule, what would you do?
I know what one you would change.
The wheel of misfortune would be.
I knew that was you're going to be your Eldora wheel. I'll keep mine to SLMR. This year we went to heat race time trial groups. And I would get rid of that. I'd go back to what we had last year, just Group A and B qualifying and not heat race time trials.
Yeah, I don't love when they group cars by 8 cars in a group and you're qualifying against your heat race. It's not.
Like, I think it's just, I don't know.
At that point, you
I'll
might
give
as
you
well
an example.
draw random.
I'll give you an example. My heat race at Marshalltown for the DeFrance Memorial, I had 5 of the top 6 in points in my heat race.
Yeah.
I had Thornton, Simpson, Murdy, Haney, and Ward, and then me, and then a couple other cars that don't usually run with us. But it's just like, whoa, that's a stacked heat race.
Yeah. Do they invert at all, or is it straight up?
It's inverted based on time trials.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is
so like I was 5th out of that group of 8 cars.
Okay.
So I started on the outside front row.
Oh, okay. So it's 6. Yeah.
Which I led a lot of that heat race. I had a good rhythm going, and then there was a yellow. Put Simpson right on me. Put Thornton right on me. Simpson got by me. Thornton, and then Dolan got by me. So yeah, I had a good rhythm going. I think I might have won the heat race if I wouldn't have had that yellow, but that yellow just bunched us all up, and then I made a mistake going into the first corner trying to get my rhythm back. So it happened.
I like what you said on Group A and B. So I don't think it's been talked about a lot this year. It's maybe, I'm doing a disservice not talking about it a lot, but High Limit, when they seed the qualifying groups and they put, here's our ranked number 1, he's in Group A, ranked number 2's in Group B. No matter who's doing it, even if you think the rankings are screwed up, you're not going to have one that's stacked more than the other. And
that's when I first started with SLMR, they did something like that. Like if it was going to be 4 heat races, they would make sure 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and points were all in different heat races and go down the list like that.
Gotcha.
If it was 3, then it'd be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all in different heat races. And I like that. And I was actually talking to my shot guy about that the other day. Like, I wouldn't mind going back to that. It just kind of like keeps things a little even and doesn't stack things up. But when we're doing East and West stuff and at the dual races, that's kind of hard. But like, I liked it when they did that. I thought that was a pretty cool way to do it. If not that, then I'd go back to the A and B qualifying that we did last year. I'm just not a fan of the heat race time trialing and stuff that we're doing right now. But I'll give them credit. They keep trying, they're doing stuff to try to keep things fresh and, keep the fans in mind and stuff like that. So, yeah. Absolutely.
And then we should talk about Knoxville Saturday in that memorial race and what you guys do. What is your favorite thing about, racing in Knoxville in this event on the SLMR schedule?
It's Knoxville. Like it's one of the most badass racetracks in the world. It's got the black Iowa dirt that I love. Like I love racing on tracks with that black dirt. Like I think that's one of the reasons I like Houston so much. We don't get the crowd that they get at the sprint cars, but there's still a pretty big crowd there. Anytime you have a big crowd, that just makes it fun and makes it helps amp you up.
And I think on that event, the crowd's growing each and every year.
Yeah, every year it grows. It just, that place is so big that it just, even when there is a big crowd, it might not look that big because there's so many empty seats, but it's and the boxes are full, like it's just a cool place. So now I am planning on going out and racing in Eldora in October. I've never been there before, so I'll see how that compares when I go out there for the Dirt Track World Championship to run with the American Steel Block Series. Looking forward to that. That's kind of like the race that I've been looking forward to all year. Even though, like I've mentioned, those 4 races that I really look forward to, this Eldora race that I'm planning on going to is I'm like, okay, let's get the season over with so I can get onto that race. We got
and Eldora is a magical place, and just to go off my weekend, Iowa State was playing in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and there wasn't an Iowa State fan on my timeline that wasn't complaining their ass off about it. And I'm like, guys, I've been to Amish country, Ohio, and I've seen a damn cool racetrack and a damn cool place. And Arkansas State's home field might not be that, but you're blaming something else for Iowa State losing a game. There's some hidden gems in some cool cities, much like Eldora Speedway. The road coming in is really rough for RVs and haulers. So do your due diligence to figure out the path you're taking into the track, because there's 2 different ones and one's much better than the other.
Okay. Well, it's funny you say that because I was just over at Todd Cooney's shop the other day getting fuel. and was talking to him for a while. And he was like, yeah, he's like, that last 45-minute drive, it's like a 2-lane blacktop road with no road markings. He's like, it's going to seem like it takes forever, and it's the biggest piece of crap road you'll ever be on.
We did it at night, not knowing. I think I had been there before, but I did it during the day, and I wasn't thinking about that road until we got onto it, and then it was like pitch black at night by the time my dad and I got.
Yeah, I should probably try to make it. I'm planning on leaving that Tuesday night, driving to Indianapolis, park in Indianapolis and stay there, work for a bit from my hauler, and then probably leave like mid-afternoon, because I think it's like 3 hours or something like that from Indianapolis is what I've been told. So then I should probably try to get there before dark. Plus, they have races all week. So like I think like Wednesday and Thursday night it's like modifieds and stock cars. And then Friday and Saturday it's the 2 late model classes, Lucas Oil and then the American Steel Block. So I kind of want to get there and just chill and watch a couple nights of racing and see what the place is all about and kind of take it in, since I've never been there, and then go out and see what I can do on Friday night.
We'll look at Iowa State's schedule. I'll let you know what I'm doing, and we'll see if I'm allowed to come on that trip if we want to risk an upset.
They have a bye week that week, I believe.
Oh no, we're perfect then. Awesome.
Because like that's the schedule, the football schedule and my racing schedule this fall really shaped up nicely.
I was looking at the same thing.
I missed the South Dakota game, which is no big deal, because we were racing at Corning that night, I think. And then the only other game I'm going to miss is Arizona, because we have a race down in Missouri that Saturday night. But other than that, like our next Corning race, they're an away game. Knoxville, there's no game, and then Eldora, there's no game. So like. That made it nice. I don't have to. Last year I missed a lot of games. My wife wasn't too happy about that.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for taking the time to come on here. I don't want to keep you for so long, but we'll definitely see about making that happen, because I'd love to just get down to Eldora for a fall race. I wish they were still doing the championship for winner take all, but Bobby Pierce needs to get on here and defend me on that. Not defend me, debate me, I should say. And I'm mostly tongue-in-cheek on that. I completely get where they're coming from. But big shout-out to Chris Weiser and the Weiser Properties, because this will end our live show for tonight and for Tuesday, whenever you're listening to this. But big shout-out to him for sponsoring, and thank you to everyone else for listening. Enjoy the weekend, and hopefully you guys see Kurt pass a lot of race cars on Saturday at Knoxville. Thanks again, Chris.
Yep. Thank you.